Welcome back, everybody. Got another good video for you guys today. Maybe a little long, who knows, we'll see, who cares. So grab your snacks, grab your drinks, and let's get into it right away. Today's video, I'm going to call it When a Judge Lacks Judicial Authority, Laws, Roles, and What It Means for Orders That Deprive Rights. I know it's a mouthful, right? So, my name is Jeremy. A lot of you guys have been following me for a while. Some of you might be new. Thank you for joining the page and following my story. And this video explains a critical due process and jurisdictional question I uncovered in my case. What happens when a judge issues orders without lawful judicial authority? My video here will walk through what judicial authority legally means, the evidence I have for my case, records obtained through right to know request, and why this matters for orders impacting liberty, property, and parental rights, things like that. And controlling laws, rules, judicial canons, and all that support the legal framework for what I've found here. So I'm going to start showing you guys these documents here. This document is the notice of lack of legal judicial authority that I found. That I actually just sent this out via email, and it's going to be sent out certified mail as well to Westmoreland County Solicitor. Who else? Let me see. The Solicitor, the Domestic Relations Department, as well as the County Risk Manager. I did also send the emails out to the Domestic Relations Counsel, their attorney that's representing them in my lawsuit, both federal and state level lawsuits I have against them. So I did send these out, so I'm going to pop these up on a screen. You guys are seeing these here. So what this does, like I said, you guys can take your time to look through these documents here, flip through them, pause the video, go back and replay it. But this is what I put together to basically put everybody on notice that is involved in my case, that is involved in enforcing a child support order on me that didn't have lawful judicial authority in the first place. It's a very serious problem. Courts do take it serious. And it's how you word these things too as well, guys. Like, you can't just come out there and start filing, these notices and motions and orders and just start instantly saying everything's void, because that's not how it all works. And, this is a very serious problem. Don't get me wrong. But you have to go about it the right way for them to actually pay attention to you and to actually read into this kind of a problem, and they will interpret it for themselves just exactly how bad and big of a problem this can be for not just domestic relations or their counsel, but for the whole county as a whole. This is serious stuff. So the core legal principle, void orders, that's what I want to talk about now. When a judge acts without jurisdiction or lawful authority, any order entered is void ab initio, meaning void from the beginning, subject to vacator and at any time. Also, courts recognize that orders entered without judicial power are not enforceable and can be set aside. So the main things that I'm going after in my particular case, guys, is the deprivation of rights, parental rights. They took my sons from me. The judge that signed the temporary emergency custody order was Judge Benoni. But when she signed it in April of 2024, that's what we're questioning. She did not have judicial authority to do so. And I'm going to explain why. So in 2016, when I got divorced and this case popped off, my ex went and filed for custody and child support. So that's when this all started. The judge was Judge Michelle G. Benoni from Westmoreland County, Greensburg. And she was the presiding judge. So I'm not really sure what happened, but she recused in 2016. And I'm going to guess because her lawyer husband, Eric Benoni, represented me while she was the sitting judge. So yes, you heard that right. My lawyer that I picked was the husband of the judge that was on my case. So therefore, I'm not sure, it doesn't state on the recusal, but I've showed you guys the recusal multiple times. I might pop it in here to you guys to look at again, because it's solidifying the problem here. You can see Judge Benoni recused in 2016, December, to Judge Harry Smale. And that's fine. That's good. That's legal. Everything's good. Judge Smale signed a few orders that I looked at, because I got all the orders in my case from a right to know request. I had domestic relations in the county send me every single order that was ever entered in my case. So what's really weird is Judge Smale disappears, meaning his signature disappears. I've never been in front of him for anything. And Judge Benoni somehow is back on my case, sitting at hearings and signing orders and all that without a legal judicial reassignment order. Now that has to be on the docket, it has to be recorded. And I looked through the iGEMs, the PACES, and the official court case history reports, as well as I got confirmation from the Pathonetary of Westmoreland County. There has been no reassignments in my case. The court administrator also answered a right to know request stating they do not have any kind of order like that in their possession. So that means they don't have one. There is no judicial reassignment order. So that's where the problem is, guys. I've done my due diligence. I went to every corner of the world to find out if there was a judicial reassignment order, which would make Judge Benoni's orders valid. But there is not. So that's where we have a serious problem. Again, when I was going back to the April 2024, when I had my kids taken off me due to a false allegation, the whole reason why I'm here doing this, she didn't technically have any kind of authority to take my children off me or sign emergency custody order at all. But that happened, so that's a deprivation of rights, parental rights. The domestic relations and Judge Benoni had signed multiple liens against me, orders, taking over $18,000 for 3 liens at least that I've added up. Also, there was bench warrants issued out for me from domestic relations because I missed a conciliation conference, or I guess it's some kind of conference for domestic relations, because I moved and I didn't get the notice, whatever, the one time out of 20 years. Because I say 20 years because I have a daughter that I paid for 18 years as well. So I've been a good payer, according to the Title 4D attorney for Westmoreland County, Emily Geiger. She states on the record during a motions hearing that Mr. Jackson has been a good payer up until this year. That's what they think of you. Had the director of domestic relations, Mr. Kowalski, sit in his office and tell me that he thought, well, here's a guy that pays his child support and takes care of his kids. Now, why is he doing all this? I don't need your opinion or your authority to decide whether I'm a good dad or not, because I pay you or don't pay you. So that's where we can end that conversation right there. I don't need your input. I know I'm a good father. I know I'm a good dad, and I always will be. But these people are something else, man. When they get backed into a corner, they try to do anything and everything they can. So anyhow, moving forward, that's why we have all these issues, is because I had loss of liberty, which is freedom. Oh, that's what I want to get into before I forget. I was arrested inside the domestic relations office after a conference and forced to pay $700 for, I guess I owed a month or something of child support or whatever happened. So they actually arrested me inside the office and forced me to pay money. I paid $700 or go to the county jail. So I didn't have nothing but $700 to my name. That's why they got $700. They did not care how I lived, what I lived off of, any of that. They just wanted it and they took it. And they did it all without judicial authority. So domestic relations operates by signed orders from a valid judge. Domestic relations is an administrative arm of the court. They are not judicial. They don't have no judicial powers at all. The judges sign their orders and gives them the power for that. But when that judge itself does not have the judicial authority on my case to do so, that's where we have a serious red flag, and they have a major problem in front of them. And I am that problem, and I'm going to see through it, that it is handled accordingly. So let's see, where else are we? Domestic Relations Authority, which I was just talking about, what the statute says. Under Pennsylvania domestic relations codes, courts are granted original jurisdiction for matters like divorce, annulments, custody, child support. Domestic relations agencies must act within statutory authority and under judicial orders, like I just said. Statutes do not authorize independent enforcement actions based on a valid judicial order if a prior judicial assignment was never legally effected. Any derivative enforcement orders have a diminished or void foundation. So why does this matter for liberty and property and parental rights? Orders that remove parental rights, affect child custody, impose financial liability or incarceration, or modify parental visitation or guardianship must be issued by a lawful judge with authority and jurisdiction. If not, those orders can be set aside as void, and they may also support claims under federal civil rights law 42 USC 1983, which I filed when done under the color of law without judicial authority, without lawful judicial authority. So that's where we're at. I got a federal case that they are involved in, and I also got a state level suit that they are involved in as well. So judicial ethics canons, including the Code of Conduct for U.S. judges, requires judges to uphold integrity and independence, avoid impropriety and its appearance. Sorry, I can't say that word. It's just one of those words. And perform duties fairly, impartially, and diligently. If a judge remains on a case when impartiality is reasonably questionable or when no valid assignment exists, that judge may seriously violate these canons. So it's pretty serious stuff. Recent authority on recusal. Pennsylvania courts continue to reinforce that recusal just isn't about bias. It's about public confidence in the process. The appearance of partiality can require a judge to step aside, even absent actual bias. That reflects current precedent showing recusal rules are taken seriously and that failure to recuse has consequences for the legitimacy of the orders, if I can talk today. So conclusion, what that all means, to summarize all this, judicial authority is not assumed. It must be proven by the record. So if that Judge Benoni recused back in 2016, there must, by law, be some sort of order on the record stating she had a legal judicial reassignment to my case. And there's none. There is none of that exists. If there is no valid judicial assignment on a recusal order, a judge may lack lawful authority. That's exactly what happened here. Orders that impact liberty, property, or parental rights without that authority are void and may be challenged at any time. So that's what I'm doing. I am challenging that now because now I found out. That's just how it is. Some things you can't challenge after a certain amount of time happen, but this is something that can be challenged, and it is being challenged. This issue is grounded in constitutional due process, statutory standards, judicial canons, and case law. Records I obtained show no valid assignment or recusal in my case. I'm going to link all the underlying legal authorities in the certified records in the description for you guys to see. I'll put up as much info as I can. But to boil all this down for everybody that is just jumping on this train here with me, I had my two sons taken from me after I filed to get more custody of them. I had 50-50 custody. Filed to get them more because they're boys. They're almost 18. And I'm their dad, and I wanted to teach them how to be responsible young men. And when I did send the mother the court papers saying that I am filing to get them more, she retaliated against me and made up some story that I allowed or gave my son, my oldest son, a marijuana vape pen. And I think I already went through the story with you guys. It was not a marijuana vape pen. I did not authorize him or give him any kind of illegal drugs, and that's the bottom line. So anyhow, Judge Benoni of Westmoreland County took my children from me through that false report and signed a temporary emergency custody order. I don't know how temporary, what their definition of temporary is. That was in April 2024. We're now at January 2026, and I still have not seen or talked to my kids because of that. I was never afforded any kind of hearing, an evidentiary hearing, to prove myself that I didn't do any of these stuff that they're claiming I did. They just pretty much had an ex parte ruling. They took her word for it, took my kids from me, filed police charges on me, opened a CYS investigation on me, and things pretty just much went downhill from there. Since then, I was cleared. The state police charges were dropped. The CYS investigation cleared me, and guess what? Now my kids are alienated from me. They don't want nothing to do with me because they had time to be brainwashed by their mother and that whole side of the family and whatever else is going on. And it's not accusations. It's a fact. It's the truth. And it's a very sad and upsetting truth, but that's what it is. That's where we're at, and that's why I'm going at this so hard, and I'm going to continue to. Now I've unlocked a whole new level of, I got so much time on my hands, and I got the knowledge, and I'm just getting smarter every day, and I'm going to become a very bad problem for these people that did this to me. That's all that I'm going to say. I'm going to do any and everything I can through their own court systems and use it against them, just what they did to me. So at the end of the day, both of my kids are going to probably be 18 and aged out when this is all said and done. My federal lawsuit and state lawsuit against these people is not to give back my children. It's not to fix any child support, because that's not what they can do. Federal courts cannot do that, and that's not what I'm asking them to do, period. I am pretty much bringing the federal lawsuit against all these people for the way they did all this stuff to me by violating due process, 1983 claims, all that stuff, RICO charges. You know, I didn't just make this stuff up, throw it against the wall and see what sticks. These are things that I put on my federal complaint as counts. And there's 20 of them, and it's a lot, and I get it. But it's what is due to these people of what they've done to me, including judges, lawyers, cops, CYS, SPHS, a behavioral health system, multiple different lawyers, even ones that represented me. They're all going to be held accountable, I hope. I hope I did my job good for the federal judge to see, and these people don't get dismissed, and we move this case forward where it should be. You know, I have a lot of friends here that have been supportive, and I appreciate that. It's a hard thing to do. This is a very hard process to go through, but if I can give anybody any smart suggestions, it would be, if you're going to file a federal lawsuit or any kind of lawsuit against people, if this kind of thing happened to you, if you had your kids taken from you, it would be, do not get emotional. When you create your filings, don't start throwing the words corrupt and what they did to me was wrong and I don't feel this was right. Don't ever bring emotion into this, because it's not going to go far. I pretend I'm a lawyer for myself and my kids. That's what I do, because I compartmentalize it, and you have to. So that's all. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope this video was good. And if you guys need anything, I'm always here to help. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice, and I can't do that. I don't want to hem myself up in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to give them a reason to come after me with any kind of more nonsense that they've been doing. So, but I can tell you what I have done, how I've done it, and what I'm going to do. So that's where we stand. I appreciate you guys watching and taking the time to watch this whole video if you did. So take care. Have a good rest of the week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.